Good morning. Welcome to morning practice with Olivia. Myself, how are you today? Hoping everybody had a beautiful first day of the year. Yesterday it was very bright and sunny here in San Francisco, and I hope wherever you are in the world, it was lovely and you eased into 2024 with some joy and some just simplicity of being in relationship to your environment. So it's 7 o'clock on Tuesday morning, and we're thinking about how to unfold into the new year and all of the intentions and resolutions and goals that we set. And I think it's useful to also just, when we're in this time, the initial moment of a new phase, of a new cycle. And there's a lot of perhaps anticipation, expectation, desire to see things come to fruition and to see things come into manifestation. To also remember that everything as it is in this moment right now is perfect. And as we went through the 8 limits of yoga towards the end of last year, just really remembering this practice of not wanting things that aren't freely given, that aren't ours, that aren't, and then we're not defining ourselves by what we have or what we're seeking, but actually the sort of sense of contentment in what we have right now in the moment. Knowing that everything is as it should be. And we can cause ourselves a fair amount of mental agitation and let's just say mental agitation as we look ahead, thinking, well, how is that going to happen? How is this going to happen? How can I plan for this? Or I want to plan for this, but certain pieces are missing, all of this sort of thing. And I invite myself, as much as my fellow practitioners, thank you, to really trust that what is unfolding for us right now is going to unfold perfectly in the perfect time with the perfect amount of ease, and that we can add to things by being willing and available, but we don't need to bring our agitation of how and the sort of energy that comes with that, and rather wholeheartedly embrace the not knowing of the how and just the deep commitment to the yes, to the willingness to be in this dance and to trust that the dance will unfold perfectly in perfect timing, which is not always an easy thing to do. So, you know, if you find yourself meeting some resistance around that, have some compassion. Yeah, it's hard to just trust sometimes. It's not easy to just say, I'm just going to surrender to not knowing, because, we have responsibilities and accountabilities, and we want to feel a certain sense of security. But I do think that if, and I'm saying this to myself as much as to anyone practicing with me, watching this, being able to trust in the not knowing is a sort of major factor of liberation. And it's the kind of liberation and the kind of revolution in being and consciousness that we're moving towards. So although we've been trained to be very analytical and very pragmatic, if you like, this trusting in the not knowing is kind of a evolved, higher vibrational approach, which also clears space for the higher vibrational things to come through and for things to happen in a less linear, less less linear way, and to let them unfold with their own elegance, with their own beauty, with their own wisdom. And that is a way also of respecting the autonomy and sovereignty of all things of consciousness around us. So, that small thing being said, let us trust in the not knowing as best we can and have compassion for ourselves as we navigate that process. Not to demand it, but to invite it. So let's find a moment to meditate with that energy as we introduce it. And just you want to sit up on some support like a block or a bolster or some blankets, allowing your spine to be straight and tall, really feeling the length of the spine. And you might even just do a little bit of movement. You don't have anything to sit on and would be more comfortable in a chair, please take a seat in a chair. And just maybe a little neck rolling. Neck rolling. Little shoulder rolls. Just allow yourself to feel your body. And taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And you're just going to slowly find your way to stillness, feeling the length of the spine, feeling the spine cord rise out of the sit bones like it was a growing flower. You see those tall green stems, those new shoots of life in the new year. And you can almost imagine that growing life out of the ground, energy rising up through your spine as you find your seat. And you may want to bring one hand to your heart center. I'm just checking my microphone because it doesn't feel like it's properly there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, that's better. Bringing one hand to the heart center, bringing another hand to the heart center. And taking a breath in so that you feel the exterior of the chest rising up to meet the hands. And then as you exhale, as the exterior of the chest sinks back down, the hands sort of push in towards the heart center. You may notice the warmth of the palms engaging with the magnetic field of the heart. If your palms are not warm or if your hands feel chilly, take a moment to rub them together. Create some heat. Let's all create some heat between our palms. Rubbing as fast as you can to create the most friction, most heat. And then just placing that back down on the heart. And breathing in and breathing out and just feeling how the quality changes when you bring the warmth and the intentional warmth of your palms, of your hands, to hold and support the heart center. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Feeling the straightness of the spine. Again, the rising cord of the spinal column. You may tuck your chin in just to feel some length along the cervical spine. Mhm. And as your spine comes to a more neutral position, head in a more neutral position, just focus on that inner light, the Jyoti, the light brighter than 10,000 suns that burns uniquely inside of you, that bright light that is uniquely yours. And you can see it inside your heart, so brilliant, so loving. And as you feel into your heart light, your Jyoti, you may call to mind a situation on the planet, a person, a group of people, even offering the focus to yourself that as we go through the practice and maybe even through our day, what heart light we can emit as we cultivate and yoke our awareness around our thoughts, our intentions, our movements, that we offer that heart light, the benefit of our authenticity energetically, no matter how many miles of distance there are, no matter how impossible things may seem. One of my teachers, K.T. Stedman, used to say, yoga is making the impossible possible. As we practice our cultivation of awareness and energetic intention, we can cross vast distances, both outside of ourselves and inside of ourselves. And may we be the bridges between the divisions externally and internally. Bridges built out of our beautiful, unique heart light. Take a moment now. We'll take a minute or two in silence to bask in that heart light, to set your offering intention, to focus on the breathing, on the resonance between the warmth of your palms and the radiance of your heart. Keeping the spine tall, breathing normally. Deepening the breath. Perhaps feeling as you breathe here, keeping the eyes soft or closed. You're breathing into that space between your shoulder blades. Let your hands fall to your lap. Maybe bring some movement again into the torso and neck. Blinking the eyes open, keeping them soft. Ah, yes. And we'll do some pranayama this morning, which is breath work, and deciding which kind of breathing to do. And I think it's going to be, considering that I'm yawning, it's going to be Kapalabhati, which is the forced exhale. They're sharp and repetitive. This is not a breathing exercise you should do if you're pregnant or if it makes you uncomfortable in any way. And what we'll do is you do a repetitive forced exhale. The inhale will happen naturally. I'll demonstrate. Just keep focusing on that exhale, pulling in of the diaphragm. And we'll take that over a period, and I'll just keep watch for us. And then we'll take a break and take a second round. And just allowing yourself to come to a straight spine. We'll take an inhale to breathe in. Exhale, cleanse the breath out. Then we'll bring the inhale and begin. Five, 4, 3, 2, and let that rest. And just notice you may not need to immediately inhale, just extending that pause after the Kapalabhati breathing. Noticing the quality of stillness. Taking a breath in and a breath out. And we'll take that second round, inhaling. Taking it slower. Okay, and letting that go. Kapalabhati is skull shining breath. It's a way I feel it clears the mental fog quickly. Sometimes we do it in combination with asana too, with movement. It can be incredibly focusing of the mind, clearing of the mind, sharpening of the mind, as is the intention. So we'll meet on the mat. We'll get started. Again, we'll just be in a cross-legged position. Having blocks, 2 blocks or blankets to go under your knees can be a great way to have some support while we go through practice today. And as I make my way to the mat, feel free to grab a sip of water as you make your way to your mat, and we will begin. Okay. And we'll just begin with some gratitude breaths. If you need to just stretch your legs out for a moment. After all that sitting down, you might just find a wall and stretch your legs out briefly before we sit down again. Okay. So friends, as I have not had many practitioners in the last few weeks, I've just been keeping my warmth level protected with the sweater. If it turns out in the future you're watching this, you're like, why is she wearing that enormous jumper all the time? I can't see what she's doing. Just try to follow the movement as best possible. I'm hoping as things get warmer, I can be more visible, but it's cold. Possibly with the move to a new space, we'll have a different temperature to deal with, but I just wanted to share that, felt called to share that. So just as we find again our tall seat here, and maybe just even slightly exaggerating, puffing the heart center up, and then curling the chin in, curling the upper back, and then rolling on your tail, on your sit bones, not your top, on your sit bones, and then rolling in. And one more time, heart center forward, and rolling in. And then we'll inhale our arms overhead, hands come to prayer, and prayer comes to heart. And we just offer much love and much gratitude for this body, this instrument of consciousness, this incredible register of the physical, of the emotional, of the mental, of the spiritual. What a gift to traverse experience and existence in this body. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Inhaling arms overhead, hands to prayer, prayer comes to heart, and just offering love and gratitude for all the people, all of humanity, all of the people that are on this planet that are trying their hardest to do their best, trying their hardest to make their lives work, and just all the work that they do that contributes to ours, all the love of community, the sharing, kindness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then arms overhead, inhale, exhale, prayer comes to heart, and just offering love and gratitude with genuine sincerity for the planet, for Earth, for its sustenance, for its beauty, its rivers, its mountains, its oceans, the just exquisiteness of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And letting the hands fall to the lap, you might let your right hand come to your right hip, and just reaching the left arm overhead, maybe turning the heart center up. If you're noticing any constriction in the neck, just allow there to be some movement. Don't force your neck into anything uncomfortable. Really just feeling the extension of the spine here. And then arms out wide to a T, left hand comes down. Right arm reaches overhead. Heart beams up. Again, just really exploring the space, what's right for you, what's right for your neck, your heart, your chest. And we'll come to a T, And then you're gonna hug yourself. Your right elbow will go on top of your left. And then you're just gonna curl in, feeling the space between the shoulder blades widen as you curl in. And then we'll roll on those sit bones to arch the heart center upwards, but just keeping the neck as neutral as can, just following the shape of the spine, not craning the neck. And curling in. And reaching up. And you can let your arms come out to a T again. This time we'll reach our arms overhead. The right hand will come to the base of the spine, the left hand to the right knee, and just twist gently. Inhaling, bring some length into the spine. Exhale, twist to the right. Really allowing the breath to facilitate the feeling and the depth and the awareness in the twist, so that you're not overarching yourself, but really feeling the length of the spine, the twisting of the torso in integrity with the curvature of the spine. And inhale, we'll bring our arms overhead. Left hand will come to the base of the spine. Right hand to the left knee. Again, inhaling, finding length in the spine. And then inhale, arms come overhead. Hands out to a T, and we will bring the left arm on top of the right. Again, giving yourself a hug. Really grabbing onto those shoulder blades with the fingertips. And then just exhale, curling in, feeling the width between the shoulder blades. And inhale, reaching up, pointing the elbows up. And then exhale, curling in. And inhale, pointing the heart center up. And that spine comes to neutral. You might just wave your head right to left. Do we call this a yes or a no? I think we would call this a, I don't know. This is yes, this is no. So what's this? This is the dance. Oh dear. All right, let's come to all fours. And we'll just do some cat cows. Puffing the area between the shoulder blades up here. And then lifting the tail, lifting the heart, letting the belly drop. Just allowing yourself to go through a few movements like that. Maybe wagging the tail slightly. Allowing yourself to just intuitively have some movement. Whatever you need here, whatever is calling to you. And then we'll press back into a downward facing dog, tucking the toes. And just bend into one knee and the other. Allowing yourself to feel very gently into this downward dog. Feeling the length of the spine.
Just gently pressing from one heel to another. Legs really never fully coming to straight here. You're just really more waking things up. And then we'll just bend into our knees and walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, you want to halfway lift, pointing the crown of the head forward. Exhale into your forward fold, allowing the tailbone to just really feel some release here. Letting that lower back feel released here. Maybe nodding the head, maybe shaking the head, maybe doing the dance with the head. Oh. Just really allowing yourself to sink into release, using blocks for support to hold your hands if your hands don't reach the ground. Keeping a really generous bend in your knees, allowing their torso weight to fall into your thighs as you rest here. And again, we'll just inhale, halfway lift, feeling the length of the spine. Exhale into the fold. And then on your next inhale, you're just going to gently, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll up the spine one by one until you come to a standing position. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. Right knee comes down to the ground, pressing into the earth. Inhale into your low lunge. Lunge inhales. Pressing into the earth to reach into the sky. Exhale, let your hands frame your front foot and just slowly straighten that leg. You may even want to bring your knee back slightly, just gently bending to your half split. This is really just to wake up the leg. And then you can rebend that front knee, pressing into your hands, and step back to a plank. From plank, you're going to lower to the earth. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. And your right leg will lift. Right foot will come between the hands, left knee comes down. And you're going to press into their feet and leg to rise into your low lunge. Letting your hips sink. Pressing to rise, keeping some engagement in that right glute will help balance out the hip. And then framing the front foot, adjusting your back knee, just gently bending and straightening that front leg. More of a rolling half split, rolling Ardha Hanuman. Maybe just feel that for a moment. Rebend your knee. Step back to a plank. If plank is uncomfortable, definitely put your knees down. And then you can either lower all the way to the floor or use your knees to lower to the floor. Inhale, cobra. Exhale. Back to downward facing dog. And with that dog, bend our knees and step to the top of the mat. Bending over our legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms come overhead. And prayer comes to heart. And then we'll take that again. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left leg back. Left knee comes down. And press up into your low lunge. Pushing down to reach up.
Hands can come down to frame the foot. And as you extend that leg, we'll take some spine straightening and folding. So just keep a sort of semi-bend in your right knee. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold over the leg. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold over the leg. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold over the leg. And then rebend your front knee. Step back to your plank. From plank, lower to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Back to downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Left foot comes between the hand. Right knee comes down. And press up into your low lunge. Pressing down through the foot, through the shin, through the knee, through the top of the back foot, to reach your arms into the sky. And arms can be parallel or in prayer. It's up to you what feels most comfortable. And you may frame your front foot with your hands. Again, keeping something of a little bend in that front leg. Don't bring it all the way to straight. We're just warming up here. So we'll do some lengthening inhales and folding exhales. So inhale, find some length in your spine. Exhale, fold in, and just play with that leg. You don't need it to be fixed. Fold in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And we'll rebend into that front knee, and we'll just bring the back foot to meet the front. And fold in. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press into your feet to rise into your standing. And then we'll bring the prayer to the heart. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. You're gonna exhale, you're gonna step back to your plank position. Let's hold plank for a moment. Plank is uncomfortable. Please put your knees down instead. That's a perfectly acceptable plank. Acceptable, that sounds really harsh. This is a really good plank too, by the way. It's really about keeping that integrity of the spine. And then we're gonna come to our belly. Arms are gonna be by our side. Palms flat, thumbs face out, and just press your hips into the ground as your feet rise. Let your shoulders rise, your head, and your hands. Jalabhasana, locust. So igniting the energy and strength of the back body. Really keeping the back of the neck long. Gaze is either straight below you or like an inch in front of your mat. Really feeling the lift as your hips press into the mat. And let that go. Oh, you can put one cheek on the floor and just wiggle your hips and maybe notice how the body feels. And then we'll put our hands underneath our shoulders, press to hands and knees, press back to downward facing dog. And then let's just take a moment here in dog to really now feel the length from the tailbone to the crown of the head. You can keep bending from one knee to the next. You're going to inhale your right leg, place it between your hands, and you're going to come up. I'm just adjusting my leg warmers.
into a warrior two. So you're from runner's lunge, your back heel will spin down so that the front foot bisects the back foot or is on the same line as the heel. And you're in your warrior two with your front leg bent. Imagine my hands are on the side of your torso, turning you towards the long edge of your mat. And arms extend, your gaze goes over your right hand, deepening the bend into the front knee. Feeling the length, feeling the shoulders drop. Just allowing some strength to build in that front thigh. Inhale, reach forward. Reverse warrior. And just feeling the length here for a moment. From the hip, the right hip to the right hand, right fingertips. And then you're just gonna let that drop. And you may either take your left hand behind you and bind with your right hand to feel a stretch, or just hold the back of your hip here. Here, I'll show you here, but from the back, feel good, or just take your t-shirt, whatever you're holding. But if you can bind and find that stretch for the upper back. And we'll let that go. We'll straighten the leg. Let's take a triangle. So reaching out, and you're really bending right here so that you're pointing, you're bending as far as you can with a nice straight spine. And then you can take a block here for support, or if you don't have a block, use your elbow on your thigh. And we'll just come into a triangle, really rolling that hip on the right leg under as if the inner thigh on the right leg could kiss the inner thigh of the left leg. And then finding your extension, reaching your left arm into the sky. Feeling the length here, length across the back. Then bending into that front knee, we're just gonna push up to our warrior two, straighten the leg, turn the legs out into a goddess pose, come down. Feeling the length of the spine, letting the shoulders drop, making your offering, embodying your goddess. And then straight. And we'll turn our feet to the back of the mat. And we'll come into warrior two. And let's just hold warrior two for a while. Again, imagine my hands are on your ribs, turning you towards this long side of your mat. But hips are also facing towards the long side. And your gaze will go over the left hand. Just let that heat build, maybe dropping into the front leg a little bit more if you can bend. Feeling the strength of your left thigh grow. And inhale, reaching that arm forward. We'll just take a reverse warrior to begin. Feeling the length from the left hip to the left fingertips. Then maybe letting that arm drop, either binding, holding the hip, or just holding your t-shirt. This is what I'm doing today on this side. Some sides, things aren't always equal side to side. It's always interesting to notice what is equal and what is not. And then we'll let that go. Straightening the right leg, or straightening the left leg. And then we're gonna go into triangle, fold, 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 just at that hip crease, at this hip point. You're just folding here, folding here, folding here. Oh yeah. And again, take a block if you need a block to support yourself, and find your length and extension in triangle. Again, curling that left hip under as if the inner thigh could kiss the inner right thigh. They're like moving towards each other to kiss.
Again, bending into that front knee, coming up into your warrior two, straightening, and we'll parallel our feet, hands on hips, chest reaches up, and then folding at our hip points, we'll come into Prasarita, Pada Jantanasana. Forward fold, you may just want to stop here with your hands underneath your shoulders and just feeling the length of the spine. This is a really good place to sort of begin to open into the hips. As you begin to find your forward fold, you bring your hips to the same line as your ankles. So they're not going back, they're not going forward, but they're there in line with your ankles. Feeling the length of the spine. And then if you want to go deeper into the fold, allowing your body to just fall where it is. Taking whatever support you might need. And inhaling, we'll come to a straight spine again. As we exhale, the right hand is going to come to the left ankle and just do a little twist, looking under the left armpit. Really feeling the length on the back of the legs here. And then press into your straight spine. Left hand comes to right ankle, gaze goes under the right armpit. Feeling the length of the back of the legs and the hip point. Inhaling, come to a long straight spine. And you're going to turn your toes in, or turn your toes out and bend. Turn your toes in, bend, turn your toes out, and just bring your feet together in such a way that you can find your Malasana, your yoga squat. You can sit on a block here if that's more comfortable, if you want to put something under your ankles. But let's just be in Malasana for a moment. Imagining you can feel this ripple of energy from the tip of your tail to the crown of your head, all the way along the length of your spinal column. That cord of growing energy, that straightness, that shooting out of the earth. Again, feeling the space between the shoulder blades. You're pressing into your prayer, which presses into your knees. Really allowing yourself to be in your yoga. And then we'll take our hands to the floor and just allow yourself to come to a seat. And we'll bring the right leg underneath the left. So the right leg is folded. The right foot is by the left hip. The left leg is folded over. And you're just holding your left knee here. And then just allow those hip points both to really settle into the floor so that you're really feeling them. Feeling the length of the spine, holding the knee in. And then we'll just inhale, taking the left arm up and placing it at the back of the spine, at the base of the spine. Inhaling the right arm up. You can either hold your right knee in or hook the right elbow onto the left knee. Again, allowing the spine to grow long, using the inhale to have the spine grow long. Exhaling into your twist. We'll come back to center and counter twist to your right. Just feeling the way that changes the shape of the spine, taking it from one curvature to another, and then pressing into your feet, pressing into your hands, and drawing a very quick
semicircle behind you so that your left leg is now folded underneath you and your right leg is folded over top. And again, let's just hold that leg in for a moment. Really, again, allowing both hip points to settle into the mat, feeling the weight of yourself expand. Oh, really feeling that today. And then you're going to inhale your right arm up. Right hand will go to the base of the spine. And then inhale, left arm up. You can either hold the leg in or hook the elbow, allowing yourself to find more length in the spine. Really using the inhale to lengthen the spine and the exhale to deepen the twist. And then you're going to let that, your gaze will come back to center. You're going to unravel your twist. And let's just take the counter twist again to feel the difference of the shape of the spine, twisting one way and then the other. And then from here, we're just going to come back to center. And I'm going to have you, where I want to take a double pigeon fold. So your underneath leg, in this case, your left leg is going to be parallel somewhat to, parallel. You want that line of the shin to sort of be parallel to the mat. And then your right foot is going to come right on top of it. If it's uncomfortable, you can always place a block here, something between the space. If you know that it will, if you know your body and you want to just practice with the shins parallel, we do that. And we'll place our hands by our hips and just push yourself up and place your hips back down. And just do that. And maybe place your hips a little bit backward, just very slight, allowing yourself to really find the length in the spine. And then reaching up, and then allow yourself to fold over your legs into this double pigeon. It's a really good hip stretch. You should feel it in the hips. Breathing into the double pigeon stretch. And then press back up. And you're simply going to change legs. Instead of the left leg underneath, the right leg underneath. Shin is parallel to the mat. And then left leg will stack on top. It's also called fire logs. I can't remember, a double pigeon. Again, using your hands to adjust your hips so that you have a good straight spine as you begin to fold over the legs. Taking a big breath in and a big sigh out. Ah. And again, big breath in. Big sigh out. Ah. And pressing up. And you're going to uncross those legs. Straight out in front of you, maybe windshield wiper your feet. We'll take a straddle forward fold. If that's comfortable for you, removing the flesh from underneath the sit bones. Having support for underneath your forehead, but really coming down from the folding of the hips, not the curling of the spine, and just allowing
the body to rest. So if you come to about here and just letting your forehead rest on a block or the floor, depending. And just letting the weight of that head of your forehead melt into the ground, and just again always imagining that vortex through the third eye, the vortex of pure clear water running from inside the mind to deep inside the earth, and carried on that vortex of water the fluctuations, distractions, unnecessary noise of the mind pouring into the earth. As you're ready, you're just going to press up, allowing a moment to beam the heart forward, and you're just going to settle back into your Shavasana, finding your way there as best befits you. If you want to take a little happy baby, but really just making your way to your back. Legs flop open, arms are by the sides, palms face up, allowing the tailbone, the sacrum to relax. Release any gripping between the shoulder blades, letting the toes relax, letting the ankles relax, the fingers, the shoulders. Just letting all the doing go. Release all of yourself into the ground. Deepening the breath, feeling the breath circulate around the body, bringing some movement to the fingertips, bringing some movement to the toes, maybe taking a nice full body stretch. And rolling to one side to a fetal position. Taking a moment there. And then just gently pressing yourself up to a seat, keeping the eyes closed, breath is soft. And as you find your seat, find the length of the spine again. Find that such a slight current of energy rolling upward from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And you may bring one hand or both on the heart. Again, connecting to your heart light, your heart offering, your heart dedication. And then we'll take an inhale together. We'll inhale and exhale to cleanse, and then big breath in, big sigh out. And then a big breath in. Bowing to you, my teachers, my friends. Thank you for practicing with me. It is an honor to walk this path together. There is no one else on the planet like you. And your gifts are truly extraordinary and unique. And I'm so grateful that we get to share this practice and share this path. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. And the journey continues tomorrow.